Welcome to High Heels and Hay Bales, where polished meets practical, legal meets lifestyle, and debt meets dirt.
I am Kristen, your resident farm mama, keeping it real about motherhood, homesteading, and laughing our way through the chaos.
And I'm Adrienne, aka the Ladylike Lawyer. I'm here to help you make sense of money, debt, legal life, without the boring fight print.
So kick off your shoes or boots or heels and let's get into it.
Well, welcome back. It is our last episode of season 2, Kristen, and it's been a wild ride. We had debated doing a very fluffy, what are we thankful for? End of the year episode to cap off our first year here of our podcast. But honestly, I think that looking at 2025, I think it would be fake to say that it has been fabulous and everything is wonderful. And you and I agreed that it was time to do what a lot of people are not doing. And we're doing a thankful for the year. We're calling it the hard gratitude. We are going to be thankful for the troubles that we've been through. How's that?
Yeah, this year has been difficult and it's there've been good things.
Yeah.
We started the podcast. We have stuck through it. This is the end of season 2. That's phenomenal, but there's been a lot
Yeah.
that has happened that hasn't been the greatest.
We're here to take the shame and embarrassment out of being honest about the fact that toxic positivity at the end of the year isn't always all that helpful. I actually tried to write a list of things that I was thankful for, and it kind of made me frustrated. And it can be a little bit hard to be thankful at times. Why is it hard to be thankful right now?
Well, I mean, did you feel like pressure from social media to pretend this year was amazing, even though it's been a shit show? I know I've seen tons of influencers doing Vlogmas, and I didn't even look into what that because I was like, not for me.
Yeah.
Was that part of it, do you think? Because I know for me, it definitely was.
Yeah, I definitely felt, well, I think as you and I live our lives on social media, and there does feel like we have to kind of keep it happy and outgoing. I think you and I are both really good about being pure and emotional and authentic in our stuff. But for me, it's been a wild year. It's been a wild year, and I think we're gonna talk about the fact that hard gratitude isn't really being grateful for a gift. It's being grateful for the grit that you and I have survived a lot this year. Has been a lot, and I think we want to know what grit looks like, right? I want to hear. I want to hear our audience. I want them to hear us talk about grit, and I want to know what your grit moment was this year, Kristen. Do you have just
That's
one? And what's your major grit moment this year? We really want to talk. We're going to talk about those,
Yep.
right? You're getting a little uncomfortable. I can tell.
Oh, yeah, a little bit. I'm trying to think
Yeah.
of ones to make you uncomfortable.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Well, I will be very, very forthright with the things that were difficult for me this year. But I think at this point right now, we're going to start with you. Oh, Kristen, 12 months ago, we were just talking about starting this, and you were a married woman living in your house, living in your homestead with your 2 children and your husband and your pigs and turkeys and chickens and whatnot and what fors. And life has changed a lot for you this year.
Yeah, it has big time. I'm not married anymore as of the beginning of December, and I still have my home and my homestead, but my life has just made a 180. It's completely changed, and I honestly don't know if I expected any of it.
Well, I think the question that I have for you at this point, Kristen, is if you could go back to the Kristen of January 1st, 2025, at the very beginning of this year, if you could go back and tell her where you are right now, would she believe you?
Absolutely not. 100% hands down, no freaking way.
You have made some huge changes this year.
Huge changes.
So you don't think in January 2025, if you went back in time and told yourself where you'd be in a year, you don't think you would have believed it?
So it's a kind of a tricky question for me because I would have believed the divorce part. I would have 100% believed it because it should have happened 5, 6 years ago. Being with the partner that I'm with now, I wouldn't have believed it. Being
Yeah.
in the situation that I'm in right now, I would have told you you were full of shit. I would have told myself, you're smoking something. Go back to therapy. And I mean, every day I'm constantly like, is this real? Have I lost my mind? Are we in the twilight zone or something? So, yeah, I don't know. I would have believed half of that, but that's just my marriage relationship situation.
Yeah.
Everything else, I would have believed, hands down. Totally believed all of it. But
Okay.
that one particular, there's just a little bit there that I'm like, whoo, wasn't expecting that one.
Okay.
What about you, Adrian? Do you feel like the same woman who started, you know, transitioned from being a partner in a law firm to who you are now? Do you think that you would feel like the same woman, or do you think the grief rewired you from losing your daughter?
That's a good question because this year marks the first year in several years that has passed by without a tragedy. Because we had suffered my husband's plane crash in 2023, and then my daughter's unexpected death in 2024. And so this year represented to me the very first full year that I was navigating my daughter's death. I felt like that first 6 months, really that first bit of time is like a shock and you're out of body. And so this year for me has been a one full year of trying to process the grief and scale the business and rewire all of the relationships I have with all the people in my life. And I definitely think this year was harder than I thought it would be. I definitely thought I was going to sail through this year. I thought I'd gotten through 6 months of my daughter. And I was unprepared for how difficult this year was going to be for me, despite the fact that there are a lot of amazing things that happened to me this year. It has been very difficult year, and um, I'm just grateful that I'm still here. I'm still here, and I don't know that I would have thought that this would have been as difficult of a year for me. I definitely thought I was gonna sail through it a lot easier, for sure.
Yeah. Well, I will tell you that, as a side note, you have been navigating this with amazing grace.
Oh,
I am proud of you for doing everything you've done and going through this because you are one of the strongest women I know. You really are.
that's almost a
And
curse sometimes. I mean, it almost feels
yes.
like when women are told that they're strong, that we're like, I fucking know I am. I
Mm,
don't want to be anymore, right?
yep.
And but I know what you're saying, and I appreciate the sentiment. And we're allowed to say things like this to each other because
Mhm.
we understand everything behind it. And I appreciate the compliment, but it is hard to be strong, and that's what I guess that's what we're grateful for is all this grit that's been keeping us strong, right?
Absolutely. I should have rethought how I was saying that because I was also told I'm a strong woman and I get through all this and I'm like, I don't wanna have
Yeah,
to do that every day. I don't wanna be
yeah.
that every moment of my life. So yeah,
But it is
that's
a
a hard
truthful
piece.
statement. We're both strong women, And we both have a lot of strong women in our lives and people, that are a lot like us and help us with our community. So I would like to continue to move this conversation forward a little bit because I know that for so many people out there, so many of our followers who've been following along our first 2 seasons when you went from married to divorced, we all know about the divorce, right? But the story is one we really haven't been kinda leaning into too much is your new guy. And you moved him in, you've known him for years. As your lawyer, I probably would have said, Slow down." I think I did tell you to slow down, didn't I? I think
Yeah.
I did. But as your friend, I listened to you and understood what was going on, and I'm very, very happy for you. So tell me about the decision to go ahead and have your friend move in with you. I think it's a huge life change, and it's very different from where we started 2025.
Man, that is, yeah, it was, I do believe as a friend, you were also saying, slow the fuck down, woman. Because I mean, yes, if, to everybody that doesn't know the history that I'm not going to completely get into,
Yeah.
it was very quick, very fast. And, I have known him for 20 years and I knew my ex husband for 20 years. You want to do the math on that one. But, you know, I almost didn't. I mean, the time frame was a little different because my ex-husband dropped the bomb on me that he was gonna move out 3 months before he said he was originally going to, and that left me holding all the bags,
Yeah.
and I was like, "What the fuck do I do?" And my boyfriend was like, "Well, what do we do?" And I'm like, Okay, come here. Let's, it's gonna happen eventually." We were planning for it for next month, but it was almost not gonna happen because I was terrified of
Yeah.
everything.
Well, I mean, I guess was there a moment, I mean, you almost didn't do it? Were you worried about what people would say? Were you worried about what your ex would you wor who were you worried about? Who were you worried about?
Oh, that is a loaded question.
Okay, okay, okay.
Um,
I don't mean to put you on the spot on our podcast. I think our audience, I know I'm fascinated. So our audience has to be fascinated. And we don't want to give a lot of details because a lot of people are involved here and we want to be respectful. But are you happy?
yes, 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to watch what I say only because I know some people report back to my ex-husband. And not that I care what he says, and that I don't want to bash him because, he's the father of my children and all of that, but I am the happiest I've ever been.
Well,
And that is my my kids are noticing to the point where my kids' attitudes are changing. And I was so stressed out and so high anxiety and so just in fight or flight mode for the last many years.
yeah.
And my kids did not know anything but that except fleeting moments of happiness. And my 11-year-old said, "All right, it's my turn, huh?" Um, I was asking my daughter about school the other day, and she said that they had some activity they do in their class and where they write down something that's going good for the week. And she wrote down, "My mom is the happiest I've ever seen her in my entire life." And I've
Aw.
noticed it just in the last few weeks, it's gotten better. And I asked her, I said, "Why do you think that is?" And she's like, "Well, I know why. It's because he's here and you guys are in love."
Aw.
And I was like, so we were together concerned about the kids and what they would experience and how they would feel. And it's like it's supposed to be,
Aw.
And so as worried as I was about everything, I don't care anymore because this is how it's supposed to be.
Well, I guess my question for you is, sounds like you are you have a new reality, you're feeling peace instead of panic. So, I guess what's the one specific moment from your separation, maybe like, I don't know, maybe a moment when you're crying on the floor or looking at the bank account or something? What is it that you're oddly grateful for now because it proved that you could survive?
Well, I mean, I guess I would just say the divorce in general, because I know I had talked to you when all of this first started, becoming reality. And I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I don't know how I can afford this. I don't know how I can keep my farm and keep my kids in even close to their lifestyle. I don't want to have to move. I don't want to have to do these things. I don't know how I'm going to do this. Maybe I should just stay. And realizing after asking my ex-husband, "What do you want? What do you want me to do? Or do you see a future?" And I knew my answer,
Yeah.
and I needed him to say it for me to go, "You know what? I don't need anything. I'm good. I've got this. I have my village. I've got this." I needed that bottom dropping out. "No, I don't want this. No, this is it. This is final," for me to say, "I'm filing the papers this week, right now. I'm getting it done."
You basically needed him to say, it's
Mhm.
over, even though you knew in your mind it was over, but the fear would have kept you there. As it does a lot of people. Fear keeps people in a lot of places, right?
Yeah, it
S
did 5 years ago
yeah.
when
Well,
I should have done this 5 years ago. So, this time I didn't let it keep me here.
sounds like you stopped waiting for permission to be happy.
Exactly.
Well, I do know who that man of yours is. I'm keeping an eye on him. It's all happened pretty fast from my standpoint. But you tell him he better be good to you. He's gonna have to answer to me.
Well, I waited for this, for years for this, and I'm not going to apologize for the speed, but he also knows, uh, all of my friends are saying the exact same thing you just said. So, he's aware. He is aware.
I would imagine that he absolutely would be.
Yes. So,
Well, that sounds like I mean, obviously you've gone through a lot, but difficult things make us stronger. And the fact that you are happy, the fact that your children are showing signs of emotional regulation, and everybody's starting to kind of settle into something here, settle into a groove that feels like it's good for you. It looks like it's happiness looks good on you, Kristen.
thank you. It's been a long time
Yeah.
coming. So now we're gonna flip the script and we're gonna
Mm.
turn our focus on to you. And I can already see you not enjoying this one either. But let's go at it this way. You published a book, you left your partnership and scaled your firm into what it is now during the first year of firsts without your daughter. Okay, so you published a book at the beginning of the year and you scaled the firm during the first year of firsts without your daughter. From the outside, you look like a powerhouse, like I said before, but I want you to be honest. Was the work a distraction or was it a lifeline or just trying to get through the daily grind?
There's no question for me that work was both, I think, a distraction and a lifeline. I'm actually a little surprised at that because I didn't think those things were necessarily what mattered to me, especially after having left a job that I had, for 27 years. I don't think there's any question that when my daughter passed, I wanted to publish a book and I wanted to get a podcast out there, something that had been my dream to do these 2 things, and I talked to her about them, and so it felt like those were things that I needed to do, and I definitely jumped both feet in and, went to work on those 2 things, and then, you know, come April, May of 2025, my book was published, our podcast was out, And suddenly I didn't have much to do. And I realized in that moment that how much I had been relying on these things that I'd put in my path, saying I had to do these things. What I didn't really anticipate was when those things were done, and um, I finished them a little too early. I got them all done a couple of months before the year anniversary, and um, it just really kind of took me into a pretty deep depression over the summer, and was definitely something I don't think I was being super clear and honest about. And I feel emotional talking about it, but I do feel like I'm in a much better place now. I didn't anticipate how hard the year anniversary would be. And I didn't realize that not having things really in place to be doing at that time frame, how much that was going to impact me. I also injured myself this year and had to stop running in the spring. And running has been something that I haven't done my whole life, but I had been doing it for the last 5 years. And it was a routine and something that really helped me process grief and injuring myself. I had less opportunity to do that. And I just feel like, you know, things kind of went downhill from there. I gained a bunch of weight and didn't really feel great about myself. And so I didn't expect those things. I thought I was writing a book, I'm a podcast, I've got a new business, I am a powerhouse. I thought that I would just continue to be a powerhouse through all of these difficult things. And then I realized that when all that stops, that you do still have to process what you've got going on. And so I would say that, I've had a lot of very wonderful things happen. I've done a lot of traveling this year, but um I I don't think I was prepared for how difficult this year was going to be.
Admitting that sometimes work is just a place to put your brain, so it doesn't hurt is a big step because I know you did that. I know you did that for sure. Now,
Yeah.
here's another question. Did you ever feel guilty for having these professional wins during this big huge personal loss?
Of course. I think that's part of grief is guilt cuz when her podcast was finally published on all of the things, the Apples and the iHeartRadio, all of a sudden I felt like maybe I'd wasted all the time trying to do something instead of honoring my daughter. Like I felt it's a constant feeling like anything that brings you joy has a flip side, right? Because that joy can't be shared. And so, how can I enjoy that joy? So, everything I accomplished always came with a smack around the backside, reminding me that, you know, she's not here to share it with, and maybe I'm only doing it because she's not here, right? Those were hard emotions to navigate through, and I it is hard to take any wins in context. It's hard to be joyful for my son. It's hard to be joyful here, and so those are realities of grief that are navigated, and I'm just really grateful I had a lot of friends and colleagues and, people who've stood by my side this whole year, and it's really helped a lot,
I believe
no
that. I
question.
know I know that the grief has been not overshadowed at all because we all know that you're
Yeah.
navigating this and you are the ladylike lawyer. You're always composed. You are always there to help everyone else. Was there a moment this year where that armor cracked, where you thought, "I can't do this anymore"?
Yeah, I was definitely feeling that way over the summer and wondering if I had just gotten myself into a really, really, big mess that I didn't know how to get out from under. I have huge responsibilities. I've got a paralegal, I've got staff, I've got expectations. And part of me just wondered if I had just plowed through a lot of not paying attention to the details, and was I plowing forward with things I couldn't really handle. And so I think, we did an episode on imposter syndrome, and that, doing those things kind of helped me work through some of that stuff. I mean, the things we talk about has always helped. Yeah. Yeah. A lot of accomplishments this year, but it's just a reality that they're not they're not the same type of accomplishments when you're navigating grief. But very proud of the fact that I'm still standing. I don't think my January 1st, 2025 self would have understood how hard this year was going to be. I definitely thought I'd put the hard stuff behind me and that this year was going to be easy sailing. Everything was going to work in my favor. Everything was going to go right. And that's not the way that it is when you're navigating grief, even when things appear to be going well. So,
Right.
yeah.
What I know we didn't really say much about this. What is something today Adrienne would tell January 1st Adrienne?
Ugh. Today, Adrian would tell January 1st Adrian that you're not invincible. You're not a powerhouse. You can't power through everything just because you will it to happen. And writing a book and having accomplishments are wonderful, but they do not substitute for living authentically. You still have to eat right and get exercise and see a therapist. And, like, all of these things are important, that one thing's not enough. I've learned a lot this year. I've learned that plowing forward is not always the most healthy thing to do. Maybe it took me 50, look at that, it took me 55 years to get to that point, right? I am pretty grateful that my brain can still, build things even though my heart was broken. I mean, going through grief and still being able to compartmentalize and function at the level that I've been doing, I'm proud of myself. I've channeled a lot of my grief into wanting to help other people. I've always been like that, but I actually see my grief as helpful in that lane. And, the stability of my business, I'm very fortunate. It's an anchor for me. I know bankruptcy very well, and that is something that I've gotten a lot more comfortable with this year, is just being comfortable with who I am. Well, there you go. That's my sad and emotional recap. Um, I'm grateful. The hard things have always made me stronger. So, I guess my question is, Kristen, it did get hard for us. We were both
Oh,
struggling
yeah.
over the summer. We were both struggling pretty hard. Why do you think we kept recording when life was getting pretty hard? Why did we do it?
I know that I needed a place where I wasn't the wife or the ex-wife or the any label that I have on me. I just needed to be whatever this is. I needed a place where I could just be, if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
I it does make sense. I needed a place where I wasn't just the grieving mom or the boss, right? Like I that's what I needed. I needed a place where we could talk about fun stuff that interests us, that is important for other people. Honestly, we've been pretty honest. We've been pretty forthright in our discussions, and I do think that working stuff out is helpful. I think our audience goes through the same things that we are. I know our audience members, people have been divorced, people are in your situation, they're in my situation, and it always felt good to talk and put it out there and let people know that we were trucking along, right? Like, whatever was happening wasn't going to stop us. And I think it felt good to keep it going. I'm proud of our podcast, proud of our little pod.
I'm really proud of us. And I mean, I do think that sometimes it became its own little therapy sessions. We kept trucking, and it's also a testament of us not wanting to give up on something we both really wanted to do too.
Exactly. Well, and I think it's a good time to start teasing 2026 here because this is the last episode of season 2, and we are coming back for a season 3 after the holidays. And we've been really coming together and working on being a lot more intentional with our podcast in 2026. I'm kind of excited that we're giving ourselves a little bit of parameters.
Yeah, we're definitely changing some things up, but not completely. We're just making sure we're doing right by our listeners. I think
Yeah.
that's the best thing. I'm done being polite about money. Next year, I'm going to talk about the affiliate checks, the debt, because there's debt now, and the real hay bale budget and what it's like to be in my shoes after everything that's happened this year.
I admire that a lot. I'm done with seeing women get scammed, and I'm putting on the high heels. I'm gonna be kicking some doors down in 2026 because we are going after the system, my friend. We are coming after the system that brings us women down and our people of color and our non-privileged friends. We
Hmm.
gotta defend them. That's what I'm looking forward to in 2026. I think that 2026 is going to be the year that we kick the doors down.
Yeah, it's going to be louder, a lot louder.
It is gonna be a lot louder. I like that. It's gonna be funner. I think we're going to try to incorporate some, I have so many friends. There's some books back here. I know all the people who wrote every one of those books. These are my I could
Hmm.
text any one of them right now. And there are people who are some super smart people in these areas that we deal with. We can bring in some experts. We're going to tighten up and make it clear kind of what our voice is here. We're really here to defend the little guy who's navigating debt. And
Yep.
whoever that sounds like to you, that can be a lot of different people. But we're here to bring honesty and truthfulness. I want people to know what it's like to be me in comparison to you. Things are easier for me. Grief is easier for me. Divorce would be easier for me. And I want people to understand more the price that somebody like you oftentimes has to pay simply because of your socioeconomic status. And I think that's really what people want us to talk about more is the reality of being a high heel and a hay bale.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. That's definitely something I'm looking forward to for next season, and also keeping in mind the that hard gratitude. We really took a hard look at this year, and there was a lot of hard stuff, and it's going to just make us better for next year. So
Yeah,
I would like to ask the audience, what is the terrible thing that happened this year that you survived? It could be anything. I mean, it doesn't have to be
yeah.
catastrophic. It can be literally anything. If you asked me from the beginning of this month to now, it would be my water heater going bad and having to pay over 2 grand to have it replaced.
Yeah, I would just tell everybody that you are broadcasting right now from your living room because your basement flooded. And while we were recording this, the plumbers finished installing, and you had to stop and get up and go deal with him and pay them, I heard 2,100 and something dollars. So that's what
Yeah.
you had to stop and go pay them in the middle of our podcast. And that's what
Mhm.
you've been dealing with. And it just goes to show it's never ending. It's never ending. Like that wasn't even in our outline that we were talking about
No.
because it hadn't even happened yet, but it's just so obviously part and parcel of what we're trying to do here and what we're trying to help other people navigate is
Yep.
uncertainty and confusion and fear and loathing in America.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, if you had a year that tried to break you, don't look for the silver lining. Just be proud that you're still standing.
Yep. Go survive the holidays, and we will see you in January with a whole new docket.
All right. That's it, Kristen. Class dismissed. We'll see you in 2026, everybody.
Thanks for hanging out with us today on High Heels and Hay Bales. If you laughed, learned something, or just had a good time, hit that follow button wherever you listen.
Want more? Head over to highheelsandhaybales.com to catch past episodes, send us a message, or drop your topic ideas.
And of course, we're on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. Come say hi, share your stories, and join the conversation.
Until next time, stay grounded, stay laughing, and stay out of trouble. Well, mostly.